Kenya's Gold.
Kulingana na klabu ya kronomita yangu ni saa 12 Afrika Mashariki sawa na saa 11 Abra Afrika ya Kati. Asante sana kwa kukubali kujiunga na sisi siku ya leo. Itakuwa ni raha kabisa usome na sisi, lakini kwa ajili kwamba tunahakikisha unasoma kutoka mataifa mengine, basi itakuwa ni raha uketi kitako kalamu karatasi andika tekeleza baadaye. Namna ngina anavyojiita kwamba yeye ni international farmer, itakuwa ni raha kabisa nimpe nafasi basi ili apate kukudadavulia yale yote ambaye alizuru kutazama kule Marekani. Keti kitako ili tuende pamoja kadi tamarafiki tamati, usikwende popote. Jina langu ni Emmanuel Terere, karibu sana katika kipindi chetu hiki cha Kenya's Gold. Na bila shaka naarifu kwamba tupo katika hali hii ya kuhakikisha kwamba utapata makala kwa njia iliyo nzuri kabisa. Basi ninakuhakikishia kwamba katika tafuta ingine itakuwa ni raha zaidi upate kusoma kutoka kwake. Iwapo ndio mwanzo mkoko unaoalika maua kwako au hujawahi keti popote kufuatilia kipindi hiki, basi karibu sana. Hiki ni kipindi cha kipekee kidedea ashirafu taifa la Kenya. Tutazame makala yafuatayo.
Now, let me tell you something that I've noted here in the United States of America. Agri-tourism is very big. Even small-scale farmers are participating in agri-tourism. Now, at the end of the day, we know that sometimes making money off your produce as a farmer can be quite difficult depending on the seasons, but they're maximizing on every other opportunity available to make sure that they are making money, and agri-tourism is one of those. Now, today we've come all the way to Shelburne Farms. Now, this place is very popular with agri-tourism. So we are going to take a walk throughout this entire farm, learn so much about the history, and also we are going to get down into some cheese making. Come along with me, let us meet our expert from Shelburne Farms who's going to take us through the adventure of the day. So much, Heather, for having us here at Shelburne Farms. This looks like a castle. Is there a king somewhere inside there?
Maybe up there in the clock tower.
I want you to just start by giving us a brief history of Shelburne Farms.
Yes. Well, Shelburne Farms was created in 1886. A family bought up a number of small farms in the area and created a big farm of about 4,000 acres. They wanted to try out all the best and latest and greatest agricultural techniques and farming techniques. And they wanted to see which of those would work, and then take that information and teach the other farmers who live here in the area.
Right. Talk to us about some of those techniques that they did try in this particular
farm. Oh my gosh.
Farm.
Well, I mean, 30 buildings were built in the space of about 20 years, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And a lot of the building techniques were brand new. There were new kinds of ways of irrigating the crops. They had a large horse breeding operation that was state-of-the-art, large dairy operation that was also state-of-the-art. Orchards, they were trying out new different species of fruit tree that would live in this area.
What are some of those fruit trees?
Well, that's a great question. I mean, mostly apples. They grow the most easily here, but also I believe some peaches. But the farm, that part of it though, ended back in probably around the 1930s.
Right.
So it was kind of this very short period of time when they had this model farm where they had 500 employees and they were, doing all of these different things. But in the 1930s and 1940s, they basically shrunk down their operation to just a dairy operation.
Right. Why was that decision made? Why did they choose to focus on
dairy? It was money. I mean, the things that they were doing, all the other things, they were actually losing money doing all those things. And they just couldn't lose any more money. They got to the point where they were just unable to run the place.
Right.
And so they decided to just focus on a dairy operation. And that's when we created our herd of brown Swiss dairy cows.
Right.
And we chose the brown Swiss cows because they have acres and acres of grazing pasture out here. It's very hilly. We needed a breed of cow that was very strong, had very sturdy legs and sturdy feet, and could spend a lot of their time out there grazing in the pastures. And the brown Swiss, they come from the Alps. So they were just perfect, right?
Right.
So we started out as a dairy operation, milking them and selling the milk. However, milk doesn't make you a lot of money in Vermont, in the United States.
Why is that the case?
It's just economics. It's just milk goes bad really quickly. There's a lot of variation in how much is created on any given day. You can't necessarily count on it. So we needed something that would generate a more steady stream of revenue.
Right.
So that's when we decided to switch to making cheese.
Right.
And so that was in the 1980s. And we discovered that our brown Swiss cows, their milk was great for making cheese. So we were lucky that way. We were able to keep our dairy herd. So now we have a dairy herd of brown Swiss cows, about 120.
All right.
And they make our cheddar cheese. We take 2 of their milkings, their morning milking and that afternoon's milking, and that goes into every batch of our cheese.
How many times do you milk in a day?
Twice.
Oh.
So we milk our cows, the whole herd, all 120, at 4:30 in the morning and again at 3:30 in the afternoon.
So we visited other dairy farmers and they milk 3 times in a day. Is there a particular reason why you have maintained 2 times in a day?
Probably because our herd is small enough, and also we really want them to be out on pasture as much as possible.
Right.
And maybe it also might have something to do with the breed of the cow, whereas brown Swiss only need to be milked twice a day.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure about the other breeds.
And at optimum production, how many liters do you get from one cow?
We generally get in the realm of 5,500 pounds of milk a day.
All right.
But 5,500 pounds of milk will make about 550 pounds of cheese. So you can see how much is lost, how much of the milk is lost in the process of making cheese. We keep that, it's called whey. It's a byproduct of the cheese industry, and we use that as fertilizer for our fields.
So you're really also heavy on sustainability in agriculture.
Yes, oh,
Talk
100%.
to us about those sustainable practices that you are practicing right here at Shelburne Farms and why that is very important for you.
Well, rotational grazing is probably the foundation, because the most important thing, you cannot have a healthy, productive farm unless your soil and everything that's growing in it is healthy as well.
Right.
And so our rotational grazing program is very, very sophisticated. We're only grazing our cows and our sheep. We also have a sheep flock.
Yes.
We produce meat for our farm-to-table restaurant, and we also sell it at our store.
So there is a farm-to-table restaurant
there
here?
There is. 100%.
We'd love to see that after this.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, so the country house, the fancy family who created this estate, we converted their country house into an inn with 26 rooms and a farm-to-table restaurant where we serve breakfast and dinner. So
that must have been a big house.
It's a very big house, yes.
Yeah.
So it's one of the ways that we raise money to sustain our farm is this is the agri-tourism aspect of our business.
Right. So you have the rotational grazing as part of your sustainability plan.
And that's huge. We also we're trying to create a situation where we're going to be carbon neutral by 2030. We have a couple different things that we're doing with our dairy herd where we're able to do that. We add something called linseed oil to our haylage, and that cuts down on the production of methane gas, which is a huge contributor to climate change.
All right.
We also, at the dairy, our manure pits are covered with something called biochar. It traps the nitrous oxide in the pits and prevents
it from going
dissipating into the climate.
Right.
And then we have another thing, which is kind of ties in with the rotational grazing. We've been creating something called silvopasture. Silvopasture. So it's Latin for trees and then pasture. So what it is, a very simple concept. It's creating pasture land where you still have trees growing in it, because the trees trap the carbon in the soil.
Right.
And they also draw down the carbon from the atmosphere.
Dioxide, yeah.
So if you can create a pasture that has all of this growing in it, but also has trees, you're doing a lot.
Have you started it already?
Yeah, so we have a couple different areas around the farm where we're starting to create silvopasture. In some cases, we're thinning out existing forest so that the light's getting down and pasture can grow. But in other places, we're actually planting trees in some of our pastures to create those kind of pastures.
Good.
Yeah.
So we'll definitely also want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I can see now we're walking into the
Yes.
cheese making factory.
Yes.
Is there a particular reason why they chose this very antique design for the cheese making factory?
Well, it's important to remember that that was never its intended function. And it just turns out this is where they had housed the mules back in 1886 in a farm that didn't have tractors yet. Mules did all the work.
Yes, they did.
So
this is where they used to
This was their
stay.
stable. Oh yeah, so let's go inside.
All right.
And I'll show you that picture on the wall shows the mules back in the stable.
Oh, so this is how it used to be.
That's
back.
how it used to look.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they converted it into this cheese making
Into this
factory.
space.
Right. So the milk that you produce from your brown Swiss is enough for making the cheese, or
Yes.
you also work with other farmers from around?
No, only our milk goes into our cheese. No other farm's milk.
Right. What is the good quality of milk that can make very good cheese?
For cheddar cheese, you have to have just the right mixture of fat and protein.
Where does the process start? Where does
Right
the
here.
milk come in?
Right here.
So can you
Yeah.
talk to us about that?
So yeah, the milk arrives at 8 o'clock in the morning. It comes from our dairy, and it's 2 milkings.
Okay.
It's the previous afternoon's milking and that morning's milking.
Okay.
And it comes in, they have a truck, they back it up, the milk goes into this vat, and then they warm the milk up, and then they add culture. Culture starts the fermentation process.
Okay.
That's what starts turning the milk into the cheese. And then they add another ingredient. It's called rennet. Rennet is a coagulant. That's what starts separating the cheese curds from the liquid, which is called whey.
Okay.
So it's something that's found in the lining of a calf's stomach. It's a byproduct of the veal industry. So they add that, and that's when it starts. After they add this whole vat, it looks like it's full of custard. And then over the course of the day, they'll drain off the whey. So 90% of the milk is lost.
At what point does it become cubes like it is?
Yeah, so see those boxes right there? So they're gonna be filling, after they add salt, they're gonna be filling those boxes with the curd that you're seeing in there. And then overnight, that's a hydraulic press right there. Overnight, they're gonna be pressing those boxes. So tomorrow morning, they'll open up those boxes, there'll be a big 40-pound block of cheese, solid cheese.
Right.
And so from there, they'll age the cheese. And we age our cheese anywhere between 6 months and 3 years.
The process doesn't end here. It has to go through the aging.
Absolutely.
All right.
So we make our cheese from raw milk. What that means is we do not pasteurize the milk before we make our cheese. So our government tells us that we need to age the cheese for at least 60 days before we can sell it.
Right.
Is a safety matter.
Right.
But we end up aging longer than that. Our youngest cheese is 6 months, and the reason for that is that the 60-day cheese honestly doesn't really taste great yet.
Right. So can you tell the difference in taste
absolutely.
when you keep it for longer?
Oh my gosh,
age
it's
it longer?
huge. It's huge.
All right.
So there's a flavor associated with cheddar cheese called sharpness. People who love their cheddar cheese know exactly what I'm talking about, like
Yes.
that. So if you have a young cheese that's like only 6 months old, it's going to be pretty mild. It's not going to have that super strong sharpness to it. But by the time you get to 3 years, it's going to be really strong cheese. It's also going to be a little drier. And a little more crumbly.
All right.
So just different cheese experiences. And so people who like cheddar, they will have preferences.
Right.
For
So
like
let's say
how
you
long they
age
want
it longer. You've aged it for 3 years, and there's another one that has been aged for 6 months. Will there be a difference in pricing?
Yes.
Which one goes for more?
The 3 year, definitely.
All right.
100%.
And what
So,
do people want in the markets?
3 year.
Oh, really?
Generally speaking, yeah. I mean, technically, our 2 year is our most popular. And it wins us the most awards.
Oh.
It just kind of hits that sweet spot for people. It's still kind of creamy. Some people think the 3 year is a little too strong. But I mean, we charge more for the 3 years because it ages in the cooler.
Right.
But it's also because it's rarer. only about 10% of our batches will result in a 3-year cheese. So it's rarer, and you can charge more when something is rare and something is it's just more valuable, and you can charge more for it.
All right.
Yeah.
So this process happens in how many hours until we are ready to age our cheese?
24 hours.
So these people are always working.
Well, no. So
what is he adding?
Salt. He's adding salt now. So this process that they're doing now, that you're seeing the people working, that's going to end in about an hour. What's going to happen though is overnight they're going to press those boxes. They're going to press the curds inside those boxes.
So are they going to remove what is here?
Yep, they're going to take those curds, put them in those boxes, and then overnight they're going to get pressed into big blocks of 40-pound block of solid cheddar cheese, and that's what's going to go into the coolers to age.
So before we go to where the storage is, where we're cooling it, let's have a look at what is happening here. I think there's some data that you have recorded here.
Yes.
Please help us interpret today's cheesemakers.
So yeah, those are the two head cheesemakers that are in the cheese-making operation
Celia
today.
and Money.
And so this morning at 8 o'clock, 5,637 pounds of milk was delivered from our dairy. That's 2 milkings of our dairy herd of 120 dairy cows. Our dairy cows produce about 8 gallons a day each.
All right.
So that's 2,480 liters, 655 gallons, and as you can see, that only makes 560 pounds of cheese. So that really gives you a sense of how much of the milk is lost.
So from 5,637, we only make 560.
Exactly. So that is the way that goes out onto the fields as fertilizer.
Is it effective as
a
fertilizer?
Well, interestingly, it's very acidic, so it actually will kill what you put on it, but what comes back is even more robust and healthy.
All right.
So that's how that works.
All right.
Yeah.
So now the milk
so it arrives at 8 o'clock in the morning.
All right.
And then the culture is added almost immediately. That's why it's not, that step isn't separated out. So
the milk that's arriving at 8 a.m. it's from the morning milking or also
the previous afternoon and that morning.
All right.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So 2 milkings.
All right.
Yep.
So immediately after 8 a.m. we add
the culture, and the culture is what converts the lactose in the milk, which is the sugars, into the lactic acid. So that's what's creating that fermentation process. And then rennet is added. That's the coagulant that starts separating the liquids from the solids.
All right.
Yeah, so that's when you start getting something that looks like cheese, right?
Like what we can see here.
Right. So, but you won't see that until we actually drain back the whey. So that happens at about 11:35. So there's some steps that occur in between there that just are part of the whole process. The curds are coming together and then we break them up. So cutting the slabs, that is when the cheese is kind of in big slabs. And then there's a very important step there called cheddaring. This is what makes the cheese cheddar cheese, as opposed to like mozzarella or like a different, right.
Yeah.
So that's a critical step in terms of the taste, but also the texture.
So what do you do to make it cheddar? What's the cheddaring?
So cheddaring process, the best way I can show you is actually on that wall there.
Sure, let's see that. Let's see that.
Step 8. That's the cheddaring process right there. So you see how the curd has been cut up into slabs. So in this stage, when it's draining, it forms 2 banks. And then they cut those into slabs. This is called the cheddaring process. And literally all it is they're stacking those slabs one on top of the other. So now how that affects the taste and the texture, I can't tell you. It's an art and a science. It was designed, it was created in the 1800s in Cheddar, England. So then after they've done this, the cheddaring process, then they mill it. It's just like a shredder. They feed these slabs into the shredder, and they create these are called fingers. They look, or cheese curds. And that's what we saw in the vat there.
Right.
Yeah, and then they add the salt.
Oh yeah, we saw him add the salt.
And so this is the step that is next. This is when they're going to fill those boxes with the cheddar curd, and overnight in step 13, it's a hydraulic press. It's literally squeezing those boxes.
Together.
And it's squeezing about 10 pounds of liquid from each one of those boxes. So that tomorrow morning, when they open those boxes up, they'll have a solid 40-pound block of cheese.
And this is now what is taken to age.
Exactly.
Oh, so
Exactly.
this is the step.
Yep.
From
So it's 24 hours from this moment to this moment.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you get your cheese.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yep.
I've seen you're also very heavy on agri-tourism.
Yes.
Why is that very important for you? And I've also seen that happen to several farms in
Oh,
Vermont.
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, especially here in Vermont. It's a huge thing here in Vermont. So our primary mission here on the farm is educating. We educate children, but we also educate teachers. And we have a lot of different programs for that. It's very, very important to educate the next generation about sustainability and sustainable agriculture. So one of the ways that we fund those education efforts is through our agro-tourism.
Right.
So as part of our agro-tourism, we invite visitors onto the farm. We have hundreds of visitors every day during the high season. And they can stay at our inn, which was the country house that's now been converted into an inn. So they can rent rooms there. They can also stay, we've built some cottages, so they can stay in the cottages. There's also the restaurant. And then, of course, our whole cheese-making operation. We sell our cheese all over the country. We have an online business. We also have relationships with grocery stores.
Right.
And then, of course, we have our farm store,
right,
where we sell both our meat and our cheese.
Good.
So all of those things generate revenue for us.
Right.
That's the agro-tourism part of it.
Right. And you're very busy because very many guests are walking
Oh,
in.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
and you're not even seeing what it's really like because it's so hot today.
Yeah.
I mean, this is nothing. I mean, the people that we're seeing right now is just a small fraction of what we would usually be getting during the high summer months.
Right. Do you let people drive in with their cars, or what's the arrangement here?
No. So we get so many people. We believe that having people drive onto the farm would sort of diminish the experience of the landscape and the quiet solitude and the beauty of it. So we encourage our visitors to park at the Welcome Center. And then we have a tractor and a wagon that will bring the visitors from the Welcome Center to this building right here, the farm barn, which is kind of the heart of the farm.
All right.
And that's about a 3/4 of a mile journey. And so that means that people aren't driving their cars, and we don't have, you know, all the things that come along with a lot of people driving their cars onto, you know, small country roads.
Right. So can we now go and see where
yes,
aging happens?
100%. So it's a little bit. It's so hot today. It's a little bit hard to see.
Oh,
so it's not super
upper cooler.
Yeah. So it's not super interesting. That's just where. So we vacuum pack the cheese tomorrow morning. We'll vacuum pack these blocks of cheese very tightly in plastic, and then put them in cardboard, and then plunk them in here.
What's the temperature here?
So it's between 44 and 46 degrees Fahrenheit.
Right.
Very narrow window. If it gets too warm, it spoils the whole, and if it gets too cold, it spoils the whole thing.
So you don't even let people go inside
Oh,
there?
no. And when the cheesemakers go in, if they have to go in and out for any reason, like to remove a batch because it's time, you know, they have protocols for how to do that and how quickly they can, you know, get in and get out.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy eating cheese?
Oh, I love it. I mean, our cheddar cheese is very. It's made all over the United States. It's very popular in Wisconsin and the Midwest. But here in Vermont, we consider it our native cheese here. Yeah.
Nice. So now that we are done understanding the process on cheese making, maybe we can take a look at some of the other animals that you have here in Shelburne Farm.
Sure.
All right.
This is Janine.
Yeah.
She's 5 years old. She's one of our dairy cows. She's here because she's very, very patient, and we do hand milking demonstrations with children.
How
And-
young are these children?
Oh my
They're
goodness,
just-
like some of them are like 2 years old.
No way.
And then all the way up to big people. Big people like to milk cows too.
Right.
And so we'll also always have 2 calves so that people can see what a calf looks like. And they're super cute. And we also feed them, we bottle feed them, and we do that with the public too. And
Right.
the public loves bottle feeding the calves.
Is there a growing enthusiasm for agritourism? Are people more interested in being here, learning about animals, agriculture?
Absolutely. And it's so important too that in a society where so many people are going, just their only encounter with food is like a grocery store or a restaurant. And they really don't have an idea of where that food is coming from. Like we've just lost that connection over time.
Right.
So few people come from farming families.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a revelation for people sometimes to realize that that jug of milk that they buy at the grocery store comes from this animal.
cow.
Right, exactly.
And so she's the patient of them all.
So part of this is an education, an effort to educate the public about where their food is coming from. And also people are just very, very curious. It serves the purpose of both educating, but also tourism too.
Right.
I mean, who doesn't want to visit baby lambs?
Oh, we have some lambs
Yep, so
here.
these are 2 of our bottle-fed lambs.
Oh.
Yep. So we have a flock of about 60 ewes. And they produce they had about 140 lambs.
So how do you do the reproduction?
It happens during what's called lambing season, which is usually March, end of February, March, and the very beginning of April.
Right.
But we did it this year in just 3 weeks. So we had all those lambs all arrive in about 3 weeks, end of March,
All
about.
right. So you're not yet using artificial insemination?
Not for we do for the cows.
For the
we
cows,
do for the
okay.
cows. For the sheep, no.
Yeah.
We had 3 rams.
Okay.
Yep.
Good.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
So we can see some more animals?
Yes. So some more of our lambs are out there. But let's go see the goats.
So you also do grow your own feeds here?
Yes.
What piece of land is dedicated for that?
So it's several different parcels. So we have about 400 acres that's devoted entirely for our haying. And that's where we produce the hay, but also the haylage, and also the straw bedding.
Someone is listening and is wondering what's a haylage?
Yeah, so haylage is it's basically fermented hay. So what it is hay where you've cut it, but you don't dry it entirely. It's still a little bit wet. And while it's still wet, you wrap the bales in plastic. And that creates a sort of fermentation. It's really good for the cows. It's high in probiotics.
Right.
And then we add a little bit of corn into that. Oh, they love it. And then that's when also we add the linseed oil, which cuts down on the production of methane gas.
Right.
Yeah, and
Again,
that's helping with
sustainability in
exactly.
agriculture. I've also
Yep.
noticed that you are using solar-powered panels.
Yes. Yes.
Right. When did you start using this?
I believe, I don't know 100%, but when these buildings were extensively renovated in the 90s, but we also have something called the solar orchard, which is on another part of the property where we have very large solar panels that are generating almost all of our electricity here on the farm.
Right.
Yep.
Very heavy on sustainability.
Yes.
In
it's
agriculture.
extremely important to us.
Very impressive to see. Then on the far end, we have those donkeys.
Yep, those are donkeys, our 2 Sicilian donkeys. And then over here we've got some goats.
And what's that forest house? I can see a forest house.
Yeah, that's just a playground for children.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You make young kids really just want to associate with
Oh my gosh!
agriculture through
If
the
we
different
were
cool
here,
things.
if we were here first thing when we open at 10 o'clock in the morning,
Yeah.
you would see literally dozens and dozens of little children running all over the place.
I know that makes you so happy to
It
see
does.
that.
It does. It
right.
does. Because if you can teach children early on when they're young how to respect animals, they're going to remember that for their whole lives.
Yeah.
And they're going to learn where their food comes from, and they're just going to be more connected to the land, and more sort of mindful about what they eat. Hi, guys.
Oh.
So here's some of our goats.
Your dairy goat.
Yeah, so we're not currently producing, we're not milking them currently. They're just for visitors to meet and greet. In fact, some of these are our little boys. So that's Scoop. He's one of our Nigerian dwarf goats, and that's Sunday, another one of our Nigerian goats. And that's waffle, and you can't really see, this is Firefly here. She's an alpine.
Oh, the breed, this is alpine?
Yep, this is alpine.
And that one is...
These are Nigerian dwarf goats,
That's a breed called Nigerian dwarf.
Yep,
Ooh. Is there any particular reason why you went for this particular breed?
To be honest, they're super cute, and they were free because these guys, they're boys, they came from a creamery that makes goat milk gelato, of all things, here in Vermont. And so they basically give away their little boys. And so we wanted them for the farm, so we got them. But this Firefly here, she's a female, so she's a doeling. We may breed her at some point. So not because we're going to sell the milk, but we just want to teach people that goats can make milk and make cheese. Goats, of course, also you can raise goats for meat as well. And then you can't really see them because they're probably in their house over there, but we have 2 Nubian goats.
Oh, those ones on the far end?
Yep. Well, that's Junebug. She's another alpine. But the 2 Nubians are in
just behind the black
Yeah,
tent.
you can kind of see, like here, you can see them poking, looking out. Yep.
Oh,
that's honeybee and magpie.
Which breed is this?
Nubian.
Nubian.
Yeah.
Are they common in the States? If I walk around, am I going to find the farmers who keep goats with this particular kind of breeds?
I think so. I would say alpine might be the most well-known.
Okay.
But you see, there are so many breeds of goat, and I can't even begin to tell you how many there are, because I'm only really familiar with the 3 breeds that we have here on the farm.
And the consumption, do you have a lot of people who eat goat meat?
So in the United States, no.
So finally, as we wind up this conversation, you have taken us through the process of making cheese, and there's someone who's wondering, there's a lot of waste that someone will encounter because just very little is required to make the cheese. How else can they make the most out of that waste for someone who's feeling like
the liquid
yes.
Oh yeah. So if it is pasteurized, well, in the United States, if it's pasteurized, because that's part of our regulations, you can make protein powder.
Right.
Like kind of custards. I think there's certain types of cheese that you can make.
Yeah.
Like I think feta uses whey.
Yeah.
So there's all sorts of things that you can do to, we don't make money off of the whey. We use it as just fertilizer, but there are ways that you can money do that. Yes, definitely. Cabot, which is a very large creamery in Vermont, they sell all their whey.
Right. Is there a particular reason why you chose not to do pasteurization?
Yes, it's because of the flavor of the cheese. It just tastes better when the milk is raw. That's right. Because when you pasteurize, you kill the good bacteria, but you also, or you kill the bad bacteria, but you also kill the good bacteria. And that can make really tasty cheese.
Right. But now if you choose to not pasteurize, you have to make sure that you let it age.
60 days.
Right.
Yep.
But if you pasteurize, you don't have to go through the aging process.
That's correct.
Oh, okay.
Yep, that's correct.
Thank you so much for that.
Yep.
It's been a pleasure speaking to you,
Yes,
Heather.
you too.
So nice to have you here. And thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thanks so much for visiting.
Thank you so much.
Mara nyingi unajiuliza itakuwaje ukitaka kwenda kuchukua mkopo katika benki ya Cooperative. Bila shaka kipindi hiki kinapewa udhamini mkubwa kabisa na benki ya Cooperative. Itakuwa ni raha kwako kwenda katika mashirika ya wakulima ujaliwe mikopo mbalimbali ambayo unakabidhiwa na benki ya Cooperative. Raha sana kwako sasa upate nafasi hiyo, utapata kile tunaita asset financing. Ni mkopo ambao unapewa wewe kwa ajili ya kujinunulia mashine kule shambani, upate gari lako ama lori ambalo ungependa sana kutumia kusukuma masuala yako kule shambani. Raha kabisa, kipindi hiki kinapewa udhamini mkubwa na benki ya Cooperative. Lakini kabla nikamilishe, ni kupatia taarifa kwamba wakulima kutoka kaunti ya Kisumu na kaunti ya Kirinyaga wamepinga vikali hatua ya serikali kuagiza mchele kutoka mataifa nje tani 500, jambo ambalo hadi kufikia sasa serikali imesema kwamba ni uamuzi ambao ulifikiwa baada ya kutokana na upungufu wa mchele uliosababishwa na kubadilika kwa misimu ya mvua kuanzia mwaka jana. Hata hivyo, serikali, wizara ya kilimo inasema kwamba ilichukua hatua hiyo kwa sababu ya kutokana na kutokea upungufu wa mvua katika taifa la Kenya. Ni taarifa ambayo utapata mwendo wa saa 1 ukiletewa na mwandishi wa habari Laura Otieno. Itakuwa raha kabisa. Nakamilisha hivi, salia na Mwenyezi Mungu, kumbuka tatimiza ndoto, tutafaulu sana. Jina langu ni Emmanuel Terero.